Warm greetings, dear friends. Today we will be discussing a topic: compulsory registration. The provisions of this compulsory registration are given in section 24 of the CGST Act. This section starts with a non-obstinate clause. It says, notwithstanding anything contained in section 22 subsection 1, the following category of persons are required to get registered under the GST law. That means, even if aggregate turnover of a person is not exceeding the limit specified in section 22, these persons are required to get registered under the GST law compulsorily. So, to know who are those category of persons, let's dive in. Okay? If you look at clause number 1, it says, persons making any interstate taxable supply. Any person who is making any interstate supply, that is from one state to another state or from India to a place outside India, they should get compulsorily registered under the GST law. So let us discuss about this point in detail. Here, let us take there is a person, a supplier in Madhya Pradesh. He is making an interstate supply to Uttar Pradesh. As per section 24 clause number 1, this person should get compulsorily registered even though his aggregate turnover is not exceeding the limit specified in section 22. Further, even if a person is making a supply to a place outside India, irrespective of their turnover, they should get registered under the GST law. However, when this point was introduced, certain issues arose. Particularly, the service sector raised concerns with the government. Service sector said, unlike the contract of goods, service contracts are not recurring in nature. For example, there is an architect in Telangana. He has got an interior designing contract with respect to an immobile property which is located in Jaipur. Once he has completed the service contract, it is not necessary that he will get another contract for interstate supply of services. So, for just making one interstate supply of services, is it correct to ask him to get registered compulsorily under the GST law? So, government felt their concerns are correct. So, government has exempted this category from compulsory registration under section 24 clause number 1. Further, government also exempted those persons who make interstate taxable supply of notified handicraft goods from compulsory registration under section 24 clause number 1. We will discuss about these two categories of exemptions when we go to section 23. Section 23 talks about persons who are not liable for registration, and for the purpose of that section 23, government has notified these two category of persons. So, when we go to section 23, we will discuss about them in detail. So, as far as section 24 clause number 1 is concerned, any person who is making interstate taxable supply of goods is required to get registered. But if any person is making interstate taxable supply of services or notified handicraft goods, for them this section 24 clause number 1 will not apply. For them, the limits specified in section 22 will apply for the purpose of registration. Now, having understood clause number 1, we will move on to clause number 2. Okay. As per clause number 2, any casual taxable person making taxable supply should get compulsorily registered. Sir, who is this casual taxable person? Why they should get themselves registered? Let's discuss with the help of an example. Look at the following example. There is a supplier in the state of Telangana. His aggregate turnover has not crossed the limits specified in section 22. So, he has not obtained registration. But this supplier comes to know that there is an exhibition which is being held in Gujarat. However, this person is not having any place of business in Gujarat and he wants to participate in that exhibition. He wants to set up a stall in that exhibition. So, for the purpose of doing business in the place or state where he is not having any place of business, and this is on a temporary basis, he should get himself registered as a casual taxable person in that state. However, this section or this provision will not apply in case of those CTPs who make interstate taxable supplies of notified handicraft goods. Okay. So, this is about section 24, clause number 2. Having understood clause number 2, now we will move on to clause number 3. Clause number 3 says, any person who is required to pay tax under reverse charge. So, all those persons who are required to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism, they are required to get registered under this law compulsorily. Sir, what exactly is this? Let's discuss. Let us take, there is an advocate. He is providing legal services to a business entity. Do you remember we have discussed notified services for the purpose of 9 subsection 3? At that time we have covered this. So, an advocate is providing legal services to a business entity. In such case, tax has to be paid by the business entity under reverse charge mechanism. And in such cases, the recipient who is required to pay tax under the reverse charge mechanism should get registered compulsorily under the GST law under section 24, clause number 3. Further, if there is any supplier who is exclusively providing those services, tax on which is paid on RCM basis, he is not required to get registered. He is exempt from registration. Sir, from where is this point coming? This is coming from section 23. Again, when we go to section 23, we will discuss this point in detail. Okay. So, having understood this clause number 3, now we will move on to clause number 4. Clause number 4 says, persons who are required to pay tax under section 9 subsection 5. When we discussed the charging section, in 9 subsection 5, we have discussed about this. I will explain this with the help of an example. All of you, look at the screen. Any person who is making supply of 3 kinds of services. One is housekeeping, accommodation, passenger transportation. And these services are provided through an e-commerce operator to the customer. In such cases, we have discussed in 9 subsection 5 that supplier will be the e-commerce operator, because e-commerce operator is deemed to be the supplier. The onus of paying the tax to the government rests with the e-commerce operator. So, in these cases, e-commerce operator is required to get registered compulsorily under section 24 clause number 4. Do you remember the suppliers we have discussed in section 9 subsection 5? We have discussed suppliers who provide housekeeping services, that is plumbers, electricians, carpenters, etc. They get registered on an e-commerce platform called Urban Clap. Those persons who have hotels, they get registered with e-commerce platforms like OYO Rooms. We discussed cab drivers get themselves registered with Ola, Uber, etc. So government felt suppliers in these three categories, this is an unorganized sector, and it is not correct to collect the tax from recipient under reverse charge mechanism for all these small cases. So government felt the right thing would be to make e-commerce operator responsible to pay the tax. So government said all these e-commerce operators should get compulsorily registered under section 24 clause number 4. Okay, ma? So having understood clause number 4, now we'll move on to clause number 5. Yes. Clause number 5, it talks about non-resident taxable person making taxable supply. This concept is similar to that of CTP, casual taxable person. So, who is this NRTP? Why he should get registered? Let's see with the help of an example. Let us take in the country United States, there is a person called Mr. John. He makes watches. He is a watchmaker, and he comes to know that there is an international watch fair being held in the city of Mumbai in India. He wants to participate in that exhibition, but this person is not having any place of business in India, but he wants to open a stall in that Mumbai exhibition. So, for making business in India temporarily, he should get himself registered as NRTP, non-resident taxable person. More about this CTP and NRTP we are going to discuss when we move on to section 27. I will tell you a lot more about CTP and NRTP when we move on to section 27. Okay, ma? So, having said this, now we will move on to clause number 6. Clause number 6 says, persons who are required to deduct tax under section 51. Further it says, whether or not separately registered. What is the section 51? Section 51 talks about TDS. Sir, TDS we discussed in income tax law. No. Not that TDS. This is a different TDS. So, we will discuss with the help of an example what exactly they are trying to say. Okay. Look at this example. Let us take, there is a government department, there is a government authority. This authority, let us take roads and buildings department, etc. They have given a road construction contract to a contractor. This contractor has raised an invoice saying that for the works contract I will be charging 10 lakh rupees. In addition to that, GST will be applicable. That will be at the rate of 12%. So that comes to 1.2 lakhs. So total you need to pay as 11 lakhs 20,000 rupees. He raises an invoice to the government department or the government authority. Now, as per the provisions of section 51, subject to the satisfaction of certain conditions that we'll be discussing in that section, this government department or government authority, whenever they are making the payment to this contractor, they have to deduct TDS at the rate of 2%. That is 1% CGST, 1% SGST, 2% of IGST. 2% TDS has to be deducted. And this TDS has to be deducted on the contract value, that is 10 lakhs. So in our example, before making the payment of 11 lakhs 20,000, what they do is they deduct TDS at the rate of 2% on 10 lakhs, that is 20,000, and give 11 lakhs to the contractor. And sir, what will the government department do with this 20,000 rupees? They will deposit it with the government. And once the government department or government authority deposits this 20,000 rupees with the government, this gets reflected in the electronic cash ledger of the contractor. And when contractor files his return and he pays the tax, he can utilize this amount. Okay. So this clause says, clause number 6 says, every such a person who is required to deduct TDS under section 51 should get compulsorily registered. Further it goes on to say, this government department or government authority, even though it is already registered, for the purpose of TDS under section 51, it should get separately registered. This is the crux of clause number 6. Okay. Now, having understood clause number 6, we will move on to clause number 7. Clause number 7 talks about agents. It says, persons who make taxable supply of goods, services or both on behalf of other taxable persons, whether as agent or otherwise. Sir, why agents should get themselves registered under the GST law? Let's discuss a little bit further. So, all of you look at the screen. Let us take an example. Here, there is a principal who is registered and there is an agent who makes supplies on behalf of this principal. But he is unregistered. Assume he is unregistered. And he is making further supply to a registered customer. Here, when principal is making the supply to the agent, he charges GST. However, the agent will not get ITC of this GST. Since he is not eligible for claiming this as ITC, the GST charged by the principal will go and gets added to the cost. And now, the unregistered person makes this supply to the registered customer. Even if the registered customer pays the tax under RCM, whatever tax he pays under RCM, he will be eligible for ITC. But the GST which is charged by the principal on the supply made to the agent, that GST cannot be claimed by the final customer. So, to avoid this, government has said any person who is making a supply on behalf of another person, whether as an agent or otherwise, should get himself registered. So, this agent should get registered compulsorily under the GST law. So, having understood this, we will move on to the next clause. Okay. Now, we will move on to clause number 8. Clause number 8 talks about ISD, Input Service Distributor. Sir, what is this ISD concept? Why they should get themselves registered? Further, this clause says whether or not separately registered. What exactly is this? Let's have a discussion on this in detail. Have a look at the screen. Here, a company is having head office in Maharashtra. They are having branches in Karnataka, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Gujarat. And there are so many input services which are required for this organization. But these input services are billed in the name of the head office. So, credit also will be obtained by the head office. Now, the head office is required to distribute this credit to all the branches. For the purpose of distribution of credit to all the branches, the head office should be registered separately as ISD, Input Service Distributor. Sir, head office is already registered. Okay, this clause says even if the person is already registered under the law, for the purpose of distribution of credit, it should get separate registration as ISD under 24 clause number 8. Are you clear? Wonderful. Having understood this, now we'll move on to clause number 9. Clause number 9 and clause number 10 are very important clauses. We will read both the clauses together and we will discuss so many situations which arise out of these two clauses. So please pay attention while I am discussing these two clauses, clause number 9 and clause number 10. Clause number 9 says, persons who supply goods and or services other than those specified in 9 subsection 5 through such e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax at source under section 52. As I told you, this clause number 9 should be read with clause 10. Here they are saying every e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax at source under section 52, they should also get registered. So let's discuss about this clause 9 and clause 10 in a detailed manner. Okay, ma? So look at the screen. Here, clause number 9 talks about suppliers who make supply of goods, services or both other than those services specified in 9 subsection 5. That means there are certain suppliers who are not providing services with respect to housekeeping, accommodation, passenger transportation. They are making any other supplies. So, any supplier who is making supplies other than those covered under 9 subsection 5, but they are providing the supplies through an e-commerce operator. Let us take, there are e-commerce operators like Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra.com, Tata Click, etc. And there are so many suppliers who are registered with these e-commerce operators. So, these e-commerce operators are entrusted with a responsibility. They have an obligation that whenever supplier is making the supply through the e-commerce operator to the customer, there is a responsibility on the e-commerce operator to collect tax at source under section 52. So, clause number 9 says, all those suppliers who are making supplies other than those specified in 9 subsection 5 through the e-commerce operator who is under an obligation to collect tax at source under section 52. These suppliers should get registered. So, these suppliers should get compulsorily registered under section 24 clause number 9. Further, clause number 10 says, every such e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax at source under section 52 is required to get compulsorily registered under section 24 clause number 10. So here, all the suppliers registered with this e-commerce operator are getting registered under clause number 9, and this e-commerce operator is getting registered under clause number 10 compulsorily. But we can make out some more situations out of this clause number 9 and 10. Let's discuss some more issues relating to these clauses. Okay, ma? Look at this example. Let us take, there is a supplier. this supplier intends to get registered with an e-commerce operator. Why, sir? Because these days there is a surge in the online transactions. So this supplier felt, why not I get registered with a platform like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. and enter into the online market. But when he met the Amazon or Flipkart guys, he was not satisfied. Maybe because they are charging huge amount of commission. So he got an idea. Why not I create my own website? So he hired a software website developer. He got a wonderful website designed for himself. Now he is a supplier and the website also belongs to him. So he himself is the e-commerce operator. Are you understanding? The same person is the supplier and the same person is the e-commerce operator. And to his own website, he is making these online supplies. Now the question arises, sir, this person, is he required to get registered under clause number 9, sir? Okay. Is he required to get registered under clause number 10, sir? Let's see. In both clause number 9 and clause number 10, there is one condition that e-commerce operator should collect tax at source under section 52. Because if you see clause number 9, what does clause number 9 say? Let's recollect. Every person who is making supplies, which supplies beta? Supplies other than those covered in 9 subsection 5. Through an e-commerce operator. Which e-commerce operator? Who is required to collect tax at source under section 52. But here, this is not a third party e-commerce operator. The supplier himself is an e-commerce operator. So there is no requirement to collect tax at source under section 52. So this supplier is not required to get registered compulsorily for the purpose of section 24 clause number 9. Then sir, is he required to get registered for the purpose of clause number 10? The answer is no. Why? Because clause number 10 says every e-commerce operator who is required to collect tax at source should get registered. Here, this e-commerce operator is not required to collect tax at source under section 52. So there is no requirement of registration under 24 clause number 10. So listen, if you are a supplier, you are making supplies through your own website, the provisions of compulsory registration under clause 9 and clause 10 will not apply for you. Okay, ma? Now, with respect to clause 9 and clause 10, we will discuss one more issue. This is respect to services. Okay, let's see. Look at this example. Let us take there is a supplier of services. And please remember, this supplier exclusively provides services. Apart from services, he does not supply anything else. So this supplier is supplying services through an e-commerce operator. For him, whether compulsory registration provisions apply or not, let's see. Actually, in section 23, which talks about persons not liable for registration, there is a point which says, any supplier of service through an e-commerce operator is exempted from registration if aggregate turnover doesn't exceed the limit specified in section 22. So let us take there is a supplier of service, his aggregate turnover is not exceeding the limit specified in section 22 and he is providing the services through an e-commerce operator. He is not required to get registered only. And sir, what about this e-commerce operator? Because supplier got exempted because of virtue of section 23. He is not required to get compulsorily registered under section 24 clause number 9. For him, normal limits of section 22 continue to apply. Sir, but what about e-commerce operator? For the purpose of TCS under section 52, there is a clarification that if all suppliers who are providing services through a particular e-commerce operator and all these suppliers registered with the e-commerce operator are unregistered, in such case, e-commerce operator is not required to collect tax at source under section 52. Since he is not required to collect TCS under section 52, there is no requirement of compulsory registration for this e-commerce operator under section 24 clause number 10. But remember, whatever I said now, this will be applicable in case of only those e-commerce operator where all suppliers are supplying services and all of them are not registered. Okay. So now we got a good idea about clause number 9 and clause number 10. Having understood this, we will move on to clause number 11. Okay, ma? Clause number 11 says, person supplying OIDR services from a place outside India to a person in India other than a registered person. What is this OIDR services? Online information database access retrieval services. Here they are saying the OIDR service provider is outside India, recipient is in India and is not registered. In such cases, OIDR service provider should get himself registered compulsorily as per section 24 clause number 11. So let's see what they are trying to say. Let us discuss this with the help of one example. Okay, ma? Look at the screen. Here, let us take, there is a person in India, let us take, he is a college student, he is doing a project. For the purpose of his project, he requires some cloud storage. For this, he contacts AWS, Amazon Web Services. They say, we are ready to provide you cloud services, cloud storage. But this Amazon Web Service is providing OIDR service from a place which is outside the taxable territory, that is in United States. And they are providing services, that is OIDR services, to a person in India who is not registered. In such case, clause number 11 of section 24 says, this OIDR service provider who is outside India and providing services to a person in India who is not registered, this OIDR service provider should get compulsorily registered under section 24 clause number 11. Now a question arises, sir, this OIDR service provider may be having customers or clients at various places. Let us take this person is in Hyderabad. There is another person in Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal. There is another person in Mumbai, Maharashtra. There is another client who is also not registered. He is in Delhi. So every time he provides a service, he should take registration in that particular state. How many registrations he will take? Government said, any OIDR service provider who is outside India and providing services to India, he need not take multiple registrations. There is a simplified registration procedure. This person needs to file only one form, that is GST REG 10, and this has to be filed with the Principal Commissioner of Central Tax, Bengaluru West. And if he takes that registration, he will be complying with the provisions of section 24 clause number 11. More about OIDR services we will discuss when we go to that topic. Okay, ma? Now, having understood this, we will move on to the last clause of section 24. It says, person or class of persons as may be notified by government on recommendations of the council. So, till now we have discussed 11 clauses. Apart from this, if government notified any other class of persons on the recommendations of GST Council, they also should get registered themselves compulsorily under the GST law. Okay. So, this was about section 24 compulsory registration.